So I'm having a hard time with the decisions that the mind is making.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the mind says, I'm not going to do this, but I'm doing it. I do it anyway. So I'm trying to figure out.
Can you give examples? Like, can you give specific examples? Is this like
Yeah,
around food or something? Or
it's someone calling me that I said I would never talk to again. And so he's calling me, and I'll say, all right, I'm not going to pick up the phone, or I'm going to end this, or whatever. But I find myself picking up the phone. And I don't know why I'm doing that. But it's not just that, it's other things. Like, I have no problem with not knowing what to do if there's no motivation behind it. Like, I'm going to clean my room, or I'm going to go shopping, and I'll just say, well, I'll just let it work itself out. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
But if there's something, particularly this, though, with this person calling me, it's like I swore I would never talk to him again, and I didn't want to get involved in all the mess.
so you obviously think that having him out of your life is better.
Yes, he's married. So it's been a long, like 12-year relationship, and it's just been this on and off thing. And so I kind of finally see who he is. I don't know, he's just not this awesome person like I thought he once was. But besides that, yeah, I mean, the big thing is he's married.
Yeah.
And so I don't have enough courage yet to call him out on it and say, hey, why are you still talking to me? If you have a happy marriage, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
I don't have the courage yet. I have written out what I'd like to say to him, but I also, on the flip side, believe that he isn't choosing what he's doing either.
No.
So
This is great. Thanks for being so honest. It's great that we can really go into depth to something. Often people don't have the courage to be so honest about these sorts of things, because this is something that a lot of people will be able to relate to, not necessarily the marriage thing, but this kind of thing where you're wanting to get something out of your life or to change your life, and the body keeps doing the opposite. And there's so many different things which in which people do that with. Like, people have obsessions sometimes if they're alcoholics, or like, and then they keep going back. Why do I keep repeating the same habit?
yeah,
And it's so amazing to really see, firstly, that we actually, when it comes to things like this, to something that's, I'm not saying that yours is addictive, but it can be related to addictive behavior, what people see as addictive behavior, of not being able to stop it, that
right.
the body is on automatic. And
I have this other addiction where it's makeup right now.
Yeah.
And I can see the motivation. It's like a constant, I can go buy it and I can put it on, and it's just, okay, I'm gonna be done. It's so expensive. I'm done buying makeup, and I find myself buying more makeup.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it's so expensive. And I've been trying to analyze what it's filling. Like, I could see what void he was filling.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fill void, but there must be something I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's
I think that the boyfriend or the lover, I think he'll also be bringing a lot of pain as well.
oh my gosh, yeah, he's brought so much pain, but I have also contributed to it.
Yeah.
And so he's slowly getting back into it again, where I've promised myself I'm just not going to ever go there again. It's not worth it. And as I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm so glad that I'm not talking to him anymore, he calls. And I pick it up. But I think it's almost like a challenge to see how I can be the real me now.
Yeah.
Does he accept the real me?
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I'll get sucked in again.
Yeah.
And so...
You see, all of this is what what profoundly changes in awakening, and you're on the awakening process, so bits and bits are dropping away, so each day in a way there's less of you, or there's less identity there, and your thoughts are always changing and being broken, and the energies are being broken, which is really beautiful. But then what profoundly changes is the inability to see yourself in that timeline. And this is the real sticker, like the bit that really sticks people into things, because even though he brings you pain, there's a you that thinks it knows what he brings you, and thinks that it needs to control time in the future. So you think you know what he's going to bring, and you think it's your job to restrain from him, or you think it's your job to get involved with him and to see how much you've changed. And all of this is illusory. Like this is such a strong sticking point, because actually you're going to respond in every moment dependent on what's coming up in that moment. And we can look at your habits, and you can break some of your habits. So if you look at them and you put attention onto some of your fears or your habits or your way of being, there can be a change of them. But we don't really know how and why and at what point that's going to change. And we can't really see ourselves in time to be able to tell ourselves that story. So even the assumption that you aren't going to speak to him anymore is in a way telling a story too much of yourself. It's saying too much about who you are. You don't know how you're going to respond in the future.
Which is why it's so painful when I say I'm not going to talk to him, and then I find myself picking up the phone.
Yeah. And also you believe you know what the outcome's going to be, which in a way this is a natural programming, and it's helpful because it's been painful in the past. He comes with a warning. You know that this isn't a great situation, but you don't know what you're going to be in the next moment. You don't know how you're going to respond. You just know the responses which are happening now. And yes, and they can be examined, and through that examination there can be a change of that pattern. And I could even talk to you about that pattern, because it's a really fascinating pattern, the love addictions and what love does to us. But you don't know what he's going to bring. You don't know what part he's played in your life. He might have been the most amazing awakening teacher for you. Like, you never know what that part is. You know in every moment the sensations, and when he calls, there's a sensation to speak to him again. And now I sometimes feel like I'm living a bit like an idiot. I know that sounds like terrible, but it's actually really beautiful. I don't have much to go on in time. There's actually a deep trust of what's actually happening now and the responses now. It's not my trust, but it's there when you stop trying to find yourself in time. So there's a trust of those responses that come in the moment. So, sometimes I decide to say give up tea, but I don't. I don't often decide to give up tea. I really love tea, but sometimes I decide to give up tea because I do get a bit of acid reflux. Sometimes too much tea is not good for you. And so there is a thought, okay, I won't have tea today. Then the body does something else, and then I have tea. But I don't really see myself in a timeline. So when it breaks that, and when it drinks the tea, that's what it does. And there's not really much energy that goes into any story about that. Because I don't see myself as time. I don't see my happiness dependent on giving up tea. I see my happiness totally as this moment, as what's actually appearing in this moment. And still there's an addiction to go into time with him and to have a love affair in time with him. Do you understand what I mean by that? By having a love affair in time?
Well, it's you're imagining?
Yeah. So
what the outcome will be.
Yeah, not just that, also your pleasure that you're getting from him and the enjoyment that you're getting from him is a lot to, and the pain that you're getting from him is a lot time bound. So actually when you speak to him on the phone, he's not anything. He's not your past story. He's not even really married. It's not that he's created all this pain to you. He is simply a sound appearing in awakeness. And I don't mean to make this cold or dead. This is really beautiful, because in the collapsing of yourself, his voice is everything. His voice is the lover. His voice is it all. And that's really as far as it goes, is there is a response happening to the voice. And it could be a response of, hey, how are you? And it could be a speaking in time. But energetically, that's all that's really happening. But you still have an addiction to him in time.
Which is really hard to not think of history when I talk to him.
It's not so much thinking about history, because he could bring up history and there could be a talking about it. It's the energy which is meeting him in a timeline, because you still believe that he can give you something in time and he can take away something from you in time. That he's in relationship with you. And it's not that you totally believe that there's still an energy there. So the reason that you make up the decision to not speak to him in time is because you're trying to protect yourself in time.
Right.
And really, the freedom is always in the moment. It's not about speaking to him or not speaking to him, or having an affair with him or not having an affair with him. It's what's actually happening. And more than likely, just from our conversation and intuition, I get the sense that when that's really heard, he will drop away anyway. Because I get the sense that, I'm sorry to be so forward about it, but I get the sense that maybe your pull towards him is always the belief of getting in the future. I know that sounds weird.
All of our conversations were going to be, someday we'll be together, you're my soulmate, blah, blah, blah.
And you're as a separate person, your love for that game is the anticipation. It's like, because when you anticipate it, he can never let you down. Like it's because in anticipating, you're getting a sense of the completion. You're imagining this perfect time that you're going to be together, and in that there's a tiny bit of total completion. You taste freedom, because the lover is the biggest representation of wholeness. So when he's presented like that, rather than living with someone in the day-to-day of him, you've got this idea of something that's going to complete you, and in that you have a taste of that completion, that love, that wholeness.
But what if I don't want it anymore from him? Like, I don't think that anymore.
You might not think it, but I suspect there's still that old energy in the body somewhere that's still drawn to it. There's still some part that's drawn to that. But I'm sure that there's such a strong seeing now that really love relationships are pain and pleasure. They're beautiful, but they're not going to complete you in any way.
Right.
They never can complete you. Your completion is always this moment.
And that's what I've been working on without having him in my life, is I've gone through all these phases.
Yeah.
And after him, I went through a phase where I didn't want anybody. And then there was a phase okay, I'm ready now. Where is everybody? And then every time I went somewhere, there was always, well, is that person going to be it? Is that person going to be it? But that thought just happened, even though, so that would be this double whammy where I'm not going to be looking for someone, but I really am.
Yeah.
But that finally went away, where I'm actually really happy with myself.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Laughing at myself, and I'm really okay with being alone. Just when I travel, I wish that I could be with someone just for the safety or whatever. So I was really getting into myself, and then he appeared again.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm afraid too.
Yeah. But I think it's beautiful that he appears again, because he's challenging that part of you again. So if there is any seeds left, it's something that will bring it out. Like those seeds left to, I get the sense that what you're drawn to is more the imagining of it than actually having it. That tends to be a lot of what most people are drawn to, but especially when there's somebody that's taken, like like it tends to be. So what you can do is you could spend time imagining having him 100% as well, like playing with all these different imaginations, like just playing with all of them and seeing what comes up, like the different feelings of it.
Well, what's funny is I met him almost a year ago. Finally spent 2 days with him, and it was not at all like what I had
You see,
expected.
this is the most beautiful thing. So all those feelings that you had for him were obviously in yourself.
Yes.
That love that you wish for from him was obviously your own nature coming forward. It's just that you were using his image in order to evoke that. Because nobody gave you those feelings that you imagined of having him, those high love feelings, that feeling of being so intimate. You didn't actually get it from him. It was there the whole time. It's just his image activated it.
Right.
It's really beautiful. But it's such a trickery because it's so strong to imagine it's out there. But you felt that feeling of the completion. He didn't give you that feeling. It was your own feeling. And it was your own imagining as well. And when I say your own, I don't really mean the person, although you could say it's the person in one way, but really who you truly are is that awakeness. And when you imagine having someone, and when you imagine that completion in that period, you drop away, and that's why that love comes forward, because your nature is total and utter completion. There is your nature needs nothing, but it plays on the surface level this game of feeling that it's incomplete and it always needs things. But when you imagine the lover coming, then often that game drops and you taste that freedom. So it's really beautiful, like that. Like you spent so much time apart from him, it was obvious that it was your own feeling. It wasn't something of his. It wasn't something that was unique to him. But the mind is so trained. You've had many generations of information passed on to this body, which is information, saying it is out there, it is out there, it's always out there. And then you've got the whole woman conditioning that it thinks and believes, and it's only since the last 50 years really where it's beginning to stop being that you have to have a man.
And I know everything is all thought. I know everything is all thought, but it's so hard to forget that. It's not hard. It's easy to forget it and get so caught up in the beliefs at the time. But I know that I can be with someone and have the best sex, but I know it's all in my head. It's not really anything they're doing.
No. Another way you can tell that is given a different mood, you won't have the best sex. Like it's really not dependent on them. It's dependent on
True.
you.
Get away from me.
Yeah. They're doing exactly the same. You're like, ah!
Yeah. So you're saying instead of me worrying about how I'm going to handle talking to him, just kind of be more in the moment of what am I doing? Well, I see myself picking up the phone, or I see myself not picking up the phone.
And examine the emotions and feelings. It's a disaster to try to live by an idea. Never. Yeah. I mean, it's good to examine these things, and it's good to examine the pull towards him, but to say I'm not going to speak to him, or to say I'm never going to drink again, it's like setting yourself up to shoot yourself in the head.
Yeah, because before I would say, well, there's no one there, like the non-dual, where that just didn't work either.
Nothing works. The only thing that works is this moment. This is all we ever have, and we don't know what this moment's going to be. And when you feel separate, and when you feel suffering or anything, just examine it. Examine what's happening now. Not rather than, you can examine the feelings and the ideas that seem to be bound to the past, but always the exploration here rather than setting up guidelines for yourself in time.
It's easier to examine my emotions when I'm by myself rather than speaking to someone and then examining those emotions.
Yeah, no, that is hard because your attention is in speaking with them. But if you can just take a moment, you can look down, or after the phone call, you can just have a look to see what's happening in the body.
I have another question. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how you're saying that if you were to tell me what to do, it would be just like talking to a computer to do something, and I would more than likely do that.
Yeah.
How come the computer can't always tell the computer what to do? Like I can't always tell myself what I'm going to do. You know, for
No.
instance, pick the phone.
But it's the same with me. Like, I can say to you now, stand up, and you may or may not stand up. More than likely you won't stand up now, but I could say to you, okay, so go and examine the emotions, and the most probably will be a doing of that. But you can't guarantee it. It's not like a fixed thing. These are like evolving machines. They're always changing and updating, and some stuff it takes in, some stuff it doesn't. It rejects. So based on the information that it seemingly got from the past, it will reject some stuff and do some stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
we have such a strong assumption that we choose, and that we have the ability to choose, but who produces those thoughts of choosing? So there is a thought that comes up and says, no, don't speak to him, and then there's a thought that comes up and says, just speak to him. But who's choosing those two very thoughts? Where do they come from?
Right.
You can't get into the typewriter below and type in what you're going to think or what you're going to choose. These thoughts can come.
So a thought can't choose.
No, it's just a thought. It can't. Of course it can't. Neither can this word. This word that I'm saying can't even make you do anything. They are sounds. Their job is to be a sound.
Right. So if the thought is saying don't pick up the phone, how can the thought have control over a thought?
Yes.
There's like nothing there.
The machine can take in new information and develop and evolve from that. So the brain can take in new information and evolve from that. So it can evolve its thinking patterns. But a thought can't choose. So you can't say to yourself now, okay, in 10 minutes I'm going to get up and do this. Maybe that will happen. There's a good chance if you've done it many times before it will happen again. But you can't rely on that 100% because there isn't a you in there that's a separate chooser. There are thoughts that are appearing that update the machine, but the appearance of you isn't writing the script. The thoughts are the script.
It almost seems like I felt better when I thought I had more control.
Yeah.
Like when it just seems like I could say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to get this, and this done. And
this will give you more pleasure though, but the deconstruction of it often feels uncomfortable. It gives you more pleasure to do because that's how you've been taught your whole life.
Right.
To do and be all these things. And so therefore it gives you more pleasure, which will make you feel more high. You'll get more relief of endorphins. But when there's the reconditioning happen, it doesn't feel so good because you're not getting your normal hits.
Right, because it feels great to accomplish things.
Yeah, but only because we've been trained like that as humans.
Right.
Which is quite sad that a whole childhood at school was mostly about achievement.
Yes, and it's really hard. I have a hard time talking to my son about not talking about achieving things, but yet I still want him to. So.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with achievement, and the human always comes with the appearance of choice, so it appears as if you can choose in that you look and you like tea or coffee, and the feeling is that you pick the tea, but it's not your choice ultimately. It comes from a boundless presence that isn't conscious.
There's so many layers. There's...
Yeah, and in your son's world, if he feels like a personal doer and if he's not interested in this subject, then the best thing for him to do is to fit in with society and do things. Like if otherwise he will be left out of society.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got to be a person if that's how he feels he is.
Right. Okay, let's see if there's anything else.
Well, lovely to speak to you, and you can watch this back because there was a lot in those answers.
Yes, I know. I will watch it back tonight.
Nice. Thanks very much. With pleasure.
Okay. Bye.